Handoff to Mostert, second level.
Bye.
Breaks a tackle. He is gone! Touchdown! San Francisco! They have laid a 50-burger on the Panthers.
Greg Papa, we go to a team that hasn't lost compared to a team in Sacramento here that hasn't won. How are you doing today, Greg?
I'm doing great. Just jumping in a Uber and heading over to the stadium early to do the radio show and then go watch Nick Bosa chase around Kyler Murray. But that last touchdown by Raheem, he wasn't touched on that one. Tevin had a couple he wasn't touched on. The Deebo Samuel on that wing counter trap, the 19-yarder, they didn't touch him on that one. So I haven't seen a running game quite like this. 2000 Raiders with John Gruden, they led the league in rushing, but it was more of a power, pulling guards and a lot of power plays. This is just the most creative running game. I think it's the now running game in the NFL, and I also think it's the futuristic running game, and these other defenses around the league just can't get a handle on it right now.
Yeah, and Greg, obviously there's multiple levels why that's working, but if you had to weigh it on like a pie chart, what's more impactful? Is this being done by scheme or more so by the talent?
No, scheme. You're without your two starting tackles, your starting fullback, who's a special player, and a scheme. It's just the movement, angles, creating angles with pre-shift motion, pre-snap shifting and motion. That Andy Reid started doing this a number of years ago in Kansas City. He hired Chris Alt, the inventor of the pistol, in college. And then, so they started doing some of that, but then he also hired Brad Childress, who was a former head coach in the league and a longtime offensive coordinator, he called it the spread game coordinator. And I remember thinking, what's that? They just incorporated a lot of the college principles. And John Gruden talked about that when he was doing Monday Night Football. If he ever came back, he was going to open it up and do a lot more spread, which I don't think he's quite done as much, but it's just a constant pre-snap motion. You got jet sweepers going, one direction, turning around, coming back the other direction, so you have to count for that on the backside. It's just opening up so much running lanes for the cutback run, but the 49ers are blocking it so well on the front side. A lot of times they don't need to cut it back, and they're just taking a play side. So, you got Coleman's a really good back, obviously, but you've got three other guys in Breida, Wilson, Mostert that were undrafted, and you got a 6th-round draft pick at one tackle in Justin School, and you got a undrafted player who played in the Alliance of American Football. Daniel Brunskill at the other tackle. I mean, I'm not saying they're not good players. They're in the NFL. Of course, they're good players, but the way they're trampling players with a more lengthy resume, I think you're looking at scheme is what's happening here.
Greg Papa, 49ers play-by-play radio voice, joining us this morning on The Drive. Greg, looking ahead to tonight's game, do you have any fear that coming off of a short week, they have Seattle coming up, that this team might be looking past Arizona tonight?
No, that's overblown in the NFL. That's an NBA thing where the schedule will get you. Baseball, where you may be tired after playing an extra inning game, or you fly in late and you play the next night. And the NFL, you spend every waking moment after the previous game is completed getting ready for the next game. But the problem is just recovering physically and mentally to play the game. Physically more than I think anything. And then mentally, I think because the 49ers are so locked in on what they are doing and what we're talking about with the scheme. But this is a hard team to get ready for. Kyler Murray is just different in the way they play, and they're starting to get under center a little bit more. But he's going to be in the shotgun most of the game, and they're going to have multiple wide receivers. Their running backs are all hurt, or a lot of them are hurt. So they're going to have a few up for the game. We'll see if David Johnson can play, and they have Alfred Morris, the former 49er, and they traded for Kenyon Drake. But they're going to have at least 3 wide receivers on the field almost every play. They're going to have often 4 wide receivers on the field. So I wouldn't say it's a trap game. You're looking past them because they're not good. I don't think that happens in the NFL. But I think teams are even. I saw this team play New Orleans last week, and it was a 10-9 game in the third quarter. And their young head coach makes a reckless decision to go for it on 4th and 1 on his own 30-yard line. Like, what are you doing? And they wound up getting stuffed. And all of a sudden New Orleans has 31 points, and it's a rout. So, no, it's just, getting mentally and physically ready to play after just playing on Sunday and having to kick this off at 5 o'clock on Thursday.
Again, all guests coming to you via the Fire Wings hotline. Try one of their delicious flavors of wings today. Fire Wings, just wing it. Is Greg Papa, the voice of the undefeated Niners, joining us. First look in the game with Emmanuel Sanders, caught that tipped touchdown early. What impact do you see with him as this season gets to the second half?
Well, now you have a number one wide receiver to go along with your number one target in the passing game, which is George Kittle. So I think he's going to make a great impact. No surprise. I mean, you knew exactly who he is. We've watched him for years in Denver, and before that a little bit in a lesser role in Pittsburgh. He's an accomplished route runner. He can do anything. You can line him up at any position. They used him mostly, I would say, at Z wide receiver, which is the flanker position, the old Jerry Rice position, which is the move guy. And he was the jet sweeper, a lot of what we're talking about. But they did that in Denver, so he's just a really good player. There were several third downs where they put him and Kittle on the same side, and oftentimes the Z wide receiver lines up on the tight end side. And you can see just a conflict. Luke Kuechly, the great Carolina middle linebacker, one time widened out a little bit to go get George, and there was Emmanuel to make the catch. He had a low ball that he caught going down to the ground. He had a couple of third down catches. So he's going to make it a lot easier to run the ball. He's going to make it a lot easier for George Kittle because the opponents know. So Garoppolo has thrown the ball to George Kittle 16 times on third downs this year. They've completed every single one. And the big one is 12 of the 16, so 75% had picked up the first down. So third down is what it's about in this league as far as passing the ball. And because the 49ers are so good getting great yardage, 5 and 6 yards on first down, you're in third and manageable. So now it's just, Jimmy playing pitch and catch to convert on third down, to play the keep-away game, to keep the chains going. And now you've got a second guy you can go to. And Emmanuel was proven. He's a Super Bowl champion, a Pro Bowler, great receiver. So you've got, he and Kittle together, where the opponents before are saying, because I'm looking on third down, where's Kittle? Where's 85? That's the guy. Now you got to worry about 17 on top of worrying about 85.
Well, I know we're a little short today on time, but we do appreciate you checking in with us. Make sure you give the Uber driver 5 stars. I'm
sorry, 5 stars to the Uber driver, they're saying for you guys. I'm sorry, I zoned out on the checkout time today. Is Dave not around today?
Yeah, Dave's on vacation. Yeah, he leaves. The Kings can't win. Niners can't lose, so he's on. He'll be back next week.
Well, the Kings can't win, but the Warriors.
Oh my goodness!
Last night, Aaron Baines just landed right on that wrist. So, who's going to have the number 1 pick in the draft?
Oh no!
No, we're not doing that.
I know. All right, Greg. Well, thanks so much. Have a good call. We'll talk to you next week.
The Drive.